get one.
Oh, failure to launch. Failure to launch.
Every
I
time.
missed it. It goes under my fingernails, and I'm like, feel like I'm gonna rip my fingernails off.
I wonder how few people get past our opening 3 seconds of the video because they're like,
That's the show, man.
What?
That's just it. We don't do anything else.
we always spend a good 15 to 30 seconds talking about how we opened our drinks.
It's vital information because it goes differently each time.
It does.
You never
man.
know.
You never know.
Okay.
That's the random factor.
Welcome to the Talkies, everyone, from Carmen Line Studios. And today is our weekly short film roundup edition.
Film roundup.
Short film roundup.
Short film roundup, that's right. In which we review 3 short films submitted by you guys.
You guys.
Our pals in the filmmaking universe.
Yes, sir.
This is a highlight for us each week.
Yeah.
Love doing this.
Super fun.
I love seeing work of our peers in the filmmaking world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From all levels of experience and ability. It's just refreshing and fun, and we all learn and come away better filmmakers for it.
Yeah. It's great.
Before we continue, we need a disclaimer for all the crybabies out there.
If you're a crybaby, I take no responsibility for the pain and anguish we cause you. What we actually mean by that is that on this show, we are as honest and frank as we can be because we think that's good for you and it's good for us and everyone else that watches the program.
Yep.
And know that there is not a mistake that any filmmaker has made that we haven't made.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We've even forgotten, ready for it, microphones.
Oh yeah. The past few episodes.
We've even put out episodes of this show with major microphone goofs.
Yes.
Right? Like, I get it. So it's not about like us saying, hey, we're better than you, so we're going to tell you how to do it better. It's more like we are all in this together.
Absolutely.
And we can help you and you can help us.
Yep.
That is it.
So that being said, shall we begin?
Yes,
Yeah.
we shall.
Get right into it.
Our first film is Y2K,
Cool.
written and directed by Alex Backstorm.
All
That's
right.
an amazing name.
That is a really.
Is that
cool
one
name.
word or
Backstorm.
just Backstorm?
It just says Backstorm.
No hyphen?
Nope. Backstorm. Backstorm.
It's STORM?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Backstorm.
Backstorm. Alex Backstorm.
All right.
Go watch the film and the link in the description. Come right back.
He's right there.
Hey, why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer.
Be nice.
It's not my fault that I couldn't find a date to his own end of the world party.
I invited the girl, but she was just busy.
Oh, yeah? Who was it?
Leave it alone, okay? You don't need a date. You've got us.
Yeah, you've got us and Pamela Henderson over there. I'm just fucking with him, babe. He knows that. Right, Scott?
We're back.
Welcome back.
Whoa.
Now,
Our computers don't work anymore.
yes, we have switched to analog.
We have.
Yes, we're
We're
now
recording
shooting
analog.
on 16 millimeter
Recording on-
Keystone cameras.
Recording on LP.
We will have to stop and wind the cameras every 15 seconds.
So, Kenny.
Oop.
I can't ask Taylor this because he was just a little tyke when the Y2K happened. So you remember when aliens invaded, right?
I do remember the Y2K scare.
Yes.
I think I was 17.
And I
that happen?
was 6 years younger.
That'd be 11.
Sure. I was watching Ocean's 11 at the time.
Nice. I took my girlfriend, who's now my wife, to a dance. And I remember everyone would be a little bit on edge. People
Yeah.
like, we're on edge about like, what the heck's going to happen tonight?
Yeah.
I might have been tempted to use the old "world's going to end tonight" line on my girlfriend, but
And that's
world
why-
didn't end.
That's why she's your wife now.
Yes, it was the magic of Y2K. But let's talk about this short film.
Let's. Tell me about this film.
I don't want to overhype this, but I'm just going to put this out there. This is easily one of the best short films we have covered on this show to date.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely like there's a certain level of proficiency in the filmmaking for this film.
Yeah.
Like, it's just super proficient. All the performances, the set, the acting, the cinematography.
I like the story.
The
Good story, too.
Yeah, the
story, too,
writing is
yeah.
good. It's just, like, all around well done.
For me, one of the signs of a film that worked is I find myself hating the person I am supposed to hate.
Yes.
And the antagonist in this film was like the boyfriend on the couch with the long hair. And from beginning to end, I believed in him as a real person because I have met this guy.
Right.
Like, I know this person in real life. I've
Yeah.
seen him several times, and I hate him. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I fully bought into hating this guy. So he was well written and well acted.
Yeah, absolutely. This had, like you said, the emotional connection there I felt in this film that I haven't felt, I don't think, in many others. Yeah, where I hated the villain. I was rooting for the hero. I was like really lost in the story. Liked it
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Yeah, it's cool because it doesn't really fall into many of the cliches that a lot of short films cover, or at least a lot of the kind of the trends we've picked up on from watching a ton of short films over the
Yeah.
past couple months.
Like what?
Like,
Oh, maybe this film was cliche. Oh shit.
I have no examples.
Okay.
It was interesting because it's grounded in the year 1999. But it really felt heavily influenced by the 80s throwback movement that's going on right now.
Yeah, it did.
It felt of that style
The-
of like a Stranger Things.
Right. It did feel like a Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I don't know. There, it's hard to pin down what was good about the film. Like you said, it was completely proficient in like several things. But I can't say that the film was good because it was proficient, right? I mean, that's
Well,
not,
it wasn't. It was proficient. It wasn't necessarily excellent in
Yeah.
any one area. But I think to be an excellent film, you only have to be excellent in one area and proficient in the rest, right? If you have a film with just like a knockdown performance that blows people's minds away, that can be enough to carry your movie if the rest of the movie is simply proficient. You
Right.
hit all your beats, right?
Right.
Yeah, you just do what you're supposed to do the right way. And I think the star in this one was the story itself.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, that is
I
exactly
think
it.
the story was better than any performance or camera trick, editing trick, or effect.
Everyone's decisions were all motivated.
Yeah.
The story was organic.
Yeah.
There was nothing forced.
Yeah, it all made a lot of sense. Again, going back to the kind of like generic thing where it's like it seems like an original kind of plot where it's doing something different with the genre of like kind of this, like, I guess it isn't an 80s movie, it's a late 90s movie,
Right.
But just kind of being in that aesthetic and
Yeah,
and
it
doing
almost
something
felt kind of like
interesting
a
with
tribute
it.
to Amblin.
Yeah,
Right.
Amblin
yeah.
feel.
and having these kind of this nerdy character interacting with like a jock and his girlfriend and like winning the girl over and doing stuff like that and ultimately like kind of succeeding, and then having this jock guy, this douche, come back as like an alien or something and
Yeah.
then like snap their necks
And his own.
killing them and killing himself. I think that's actually like one thing I would change about it is I wouldn't have had him kill himself. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand that. That was
think-
the one thing I didn't
I
understand.
think the aliens got what they needed from him. Like they wanted one of them, a
Yeah.
human. Took him, got what he needed, but also didn't want to leave a missing person behind, right? And so had them all die. So there's no witnesses to.
That's what I got from it. There
I
were
didn't mind that.
there were things that I wasn't in love with in the film, and one of them was like some of the takes were just a little weird. Like you okay there?
Yeah, I'm slowly putting the drink down.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the takes, I guess, of like the nerd guy and the girl felt like they weren't hitting their beats quite right. And then there was this weird decision about where they're like being mind controlled or something like that.
or tortured with like sound waves or something.
Yeah, see that
didn't quite work for me.
Yeah,
but again, the story was so and fun and engaging that
you just gave it a pass.
You know, right. And to the performance side, there were a couple times when we jumped to the perspective of the nerdy kid, and he's putting on a performance that almost feels like it's from a parody,
right?
Like from something much more comic,
right?
And overall, this wasn't that much of a comic piece, although there were moments where I really felt like laughing.
So there were. It was kind of funny because the theme in here kind of, I think, wavered a little bit. Not the theme, but the overall tone.
The tone,
wavered a little bit.
I think it did.
The soundtrack was really cool because it was really campy, and it had like this, synthy vibe to it, so it made everything kind of feel like it's kind of playful. But then at the same time, it was getting serious because of a character motivation of the guy wanted the girl, and this douchebag is not letting him. And then it was like, and then they had the torture scene that didn't have any music in it. It was a little weird, totally. So
the overall idea, I think, is really refreshing and cool. Like, I feel like I'm not trying to be too high on myself, but I feel like I never see anything that I haven't already thought of, right? Like, and any times, especially in like science fiction, something comes up and I'm like, yep, I remember when I wanted to make that movie,
right,
all the time,
right.
And I never thought of what if when the Y2K bug happened and it ended and everyone said, hey, nothing happened. What if something did happen, but no one knew about it because of some clandestine thing, barter that was made with extraterrestrial life or something? Like, something actually did happen, but it was covered up.
Yeah, see,
that's a cool idea.
It is cool.
That's what that's what I've been trying to say.
Right.
Is that the premise is something that I haven't seen before. And it's almost, now that I have seen it, it's almost like obvious. It's like, oh yeah, why hasn't there been a movie about Y2K going wrong?
So that's just it. So if you have an idea that's great and original and fresh, that can be enough to carry your movie too. Yeah. As long as everything else is proficiently done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If this movie didn't use microphones, if this was like 80% of the short films we cover on this show and used the crummy little mic that's on top of your camera to record sound, the whole film would have been down the toilet.
Yeah, definitely.
The clever idea would not have been enough to carry it.
Yeah.
So,
definitely that.
Yeah, it's good to take care of all aspects of your movie.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
Yeah, I felt like it was well directed.
Yeah,
it was.
I could sort of feel the hand of a proficient director in there.
And they had some terrific shots.
Some are really cool.
Some gorgeous lighting. And I know what they were going for in like their silhouette shots of the guys fighting in the smoke and everything.
Mm-hmm. And fun. The interplay of exterior lighting, interior lighting stuff, when they had ambient lighting outside and smoke effects going on, and yet we could still sort of see what's happening on the inside, is actually really hard to do right.
Yeah.
Not sure what camera you guys were using, but in that conversation, it is interesting to know. I really try to not ever bring up that question.
This film was great. What camera do you use?
Yeah, what camera do you use?
But when you're doing light effects outside and super dark inside and still are producing a decent image, the type of camera you're using is going to tell me how hard you work to get that image.
Also, I want to know what lights you guys used for the outside, because they seem like HMIs to me, but I've never personally used HMIs, but I know they're like the brightest looking lights that you can use, and especially ones to get that streak.
Also, how hard was it to get that massive fog bank?
Oh, I know.
Smoke machines tend to get so dispersed.
Yeah.
And you had it really concentrated, which can be tricky. So that was pretty cool. Curious to know if you had any struggles doing that.
Yeah, it seemed like a big production, honestly, because there was a lot of dolly shots in here.
Yeah, and the credits were pretty long too. There were a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of different credits.
Was this done in a day, Was
Yeah.
this a one-day shoot?
Oh,
I'd
interesting.
also be interested to know that.
I don't think it was.
I
But-
don't-
but maybe?
Yeah, I don't imagine it would be, but I suppose it's possible.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the makers of Y2K?
Was this a student film, or did you just make this because you wanted to?
Because you're awesome.
Yeah, because you're awesome.
And you are.
Yeah.
Thank you for submitting Y2K to Short Film Roundup. I thoroughly enjoyed this
Yeah.
movie and hope to see a lot more from you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was by far one of my favorites we've seen.
Nice job. Here, here.
Here, here.
Kudos.
What we got next?
Next we have Dreamland by Lachlan Peters.
Link below.
Lachlan Peters.
Go check it out.
Lachlan Peters. Back.
Hi. Here we are. We're back. So this one's a little hard for me to talk about because what I see here is a demonstration of check out my animation chops. You know, I can animate in this specific style and I've gotten good at it. But that's it. There's
Yeah.
not a story.
Yeah.
And so it becomes kind of hard for me to criticize other than for the style of animation he was going for, seemed to work. I liked that he found ways to bring in movement to some scenes that would otherwise be very static. For example, when a fan was going back and forth across the sleeping boy, you saw his hair
Yeah.
bounce just
Yeah, I
a little.
noticed
You know,
that.
little things like that is I think are big pluses. But as a short film, and this is Short Film Roundup, my main critique would be that this didn't really go anywhere. And venturing into a dream and back out is about as cliche and tropey as it gets, but it's for a good reason. It's because in a dream you could do anything, right? You could do anything at all. And we, basically just saw a lot of really generic things to dream about.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really kind of a little funny about it was like, again, like you were saying, I don't know the intent of what was
Yeah.
behind. I don't know if he was intending to tell a story with his animation or if he was just making an animation piece to show people
Right.
Good
that he
demo.
could animate. Yeah, but like we're gonna go into his dream and what we're gonna see is him riding a train and then he's gonna go down the river in his dream, but he's asleep and now he's falling through the sky. It's like the most like the tamest dreams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's like that, and I guess that's again, it comes down to the intent. I don't know what the intent was, but there were some really cool visuals for sure. Like when he does fall asleep and there's a ray of light coming from his window in his bed, and he falls asleep and his bed disappears and he falls down and it becomes like a city.
Yeah.
The transition into the dream
Yeah.
has, and then the ray of light becomes light from the sun cast over him, which I thought was really cool. Like that transition was awesome. All the animation there was really cool.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, I'm not sure what else to say other than there's not much of a story per se. Doesn't really have all too
and
much crazy.
my
going for it.
criticisms come from the fact that we pressed play, getting ready to watch a short film.
For me, I loved this a lot.
Yeah.
I really did.
Here we go.
The expressionist nature of it, I think, is what really let me kind of love it. And the thing is, I know.
Where am I?
Yeah, I know.
Where am I right now? What's
So-
happening?
So I think animation, I tend to judge a little differently than film.
Okay.
I tend to judge
I wouldn't
animation.
even call
a little
this
differently.
expressionist in nature.
It is expressionist in nature because if what you're doing is, say if it's a reel, right, or it's not a reel but just a demo, what do you call that?
Demo reel?
Not a demo reel because it's not a reel.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, Yeah,
spec.
proof of concept or a just a demo of some sort. Yeah. You're just showing people what you can do. That is by nature expressionist, right? That's what demo means, is to express oneself. So,
Go on.
are you okay with this?
I
might
could
not
jump
be.
down some.
Go
I
ahead,
could
go
jump
ahead.
down a rabbit hole.
Do it.
No, I wanted to hear what you have to say about the movie before
okay,
we
hold on
derail.
to the-
My point.
Completely.
My point is that he's or whoever made this Lachlan is saying that their technical proficiency, may be up to par to do some other stuff, and by showing this way of doing these things, that's just all it is. It's just showing what he can do, and that's what I got from it, and that's totally fine with me. And I felt like the intent there it wasn't clear, like you said. I don't think the intent was very clear, but that is what I got from it, that it was technical. And I really enjoyed all the little animation things that they did. I really liked the transitions from one to the other.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why they did certain choices with the dreams, why some of the dreams were very, like you said, generic. They were very generic dreams. There's a rainbow and there's a train and then
It could easily be my son's dream.
Yeah. So it was very generic. And then at the very end, it seemed like they ran out of ideas or they ran out of time, and so they just made the train
Reversed
float
everything.
and then reversed everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't seem like there was much of an intent there, but from what visually was expressed, it was fun.
It was fun as visual expression. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that I was watching this, and literally the whole time my subconscious was telling me, this is still the first act. We're still in the first act.
Yeah.
We're still in the first act.
I
and
wonder.
then it was over.
I wonder if it's because it was just music the whole time, and the sound. There was diegetic sound in there, which I really appreciated. Mm-hmm. So we heard the car drive by and we heard the fan and everything. That was really cool. But the music being like the main character in the story, and then the actual character never opening his eyes, made me think, okay, well, this is just kind of something just to watch and just to feel and just to enjoy. And so in that way I did, in the same way that I really enjoyed the expressionist film Third and the Seventh.
Sure. It's actually the kind of thing that children love to watch. Little children actually tend to get disinterested in what we call a standard story format, where really sort of like tone and expression means more to them. Did you want to add anything to this whole expressionist versus non-expressionist conversation, or is it worth getting into it? Because
I want to talk about
D
it.
said some troubling things.
I don't know if it's not exactly related to this movie anymore, so we are kind of diverging. But I want to talk about it.
Sure.
I'll bring it back home when you're done.
All right.
I have a few more thoughts.
And I don't know. It's just a thought I had when you're saying what. Say it again, where you're talking about expressionist by nature, and how this film was expressionist.
So the word I was trying to think of was tech demo.
Okay.
You've seen in E3 where when people would have introduced new technology, they call it a tech demo.
Yeah.
So what they do is they show, look at these brand new graphics, and they don't show you anything you can actually play. Sometimes they do, but they don't show you anything that's actually real going on right in this moment. It's just all about looks and all about interest building. And that's what I felt this was just, it was a tech demo to show people that, hey, I can animate this way, check it out, look. And so that's all it was.
But so for me, it's like what's the difference between expressionism and what movie is not expressionism?
What movie is not expressionism?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
How can what is expressionism to you?
Well, I mean, it's hard to define, but I mean, when we're talking about expressionist film, I feel like that's different from narrative film, right? So the film, what's the Under the Skin, right? Tells a story, but it's expressionist, right? It's not a narrative film.
Right.
See, that's where I have a hard time figuring out the difference.
I think there's a lot of bleed over. That's why.
Because Under the Skin, yes, is expressionistic in nature.
Yeah.
But does have a defined narrative as well.
Well, defined meaning that it's not telling the audience everything they need to know. and therefore I don't think their intent is to make the audience know the story. And if like you're trying to communicate with someone a bunch of events that led up to something, you're not going to make that experience confusing, and you're not going to make it just purely for the experience. You're going to make it because you want to get to a point. And if that point is clouded by art, then that's expressionism.
I think it's a little simpler than maybe we're making it out to be. That narrative and expressionism are not two categories, but are ends of a spectrum, right? You can go at a film with the idea that I just want to tell this story,
Right.
and be completely objective about it, as objective as a human can be. And then there's the other side where your motivation or intent is I want to convey an emotion or a feeling. I want to express myself.
Right.
Right. But in the middle, you can tell a story through expressing emotion. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
There is definitely a place where you bleed over, and as we've said many times before, it all kind of comes down to intent, to what your intent is.
It really does. Yeah.
And the intent of the audience. And this is where I think things fell apart for this movie.
Yeah.
With me, was that when we just clicked play, not knowing what we were getting into, that completely affected the way I looked at this movie. Because the whole time I was watching, it felt like I'm being told a story here, and the story didn't really go anywhere, and so I was left feeling disappointed.
Well, and I'm very subjective on this kind of thing, because this kind of animation is something that I just enjoy, and so I like listening to, like, you know, the cliche lo-fi hip hop. You know, like that's like one of my favorite types of music, and so this kind of animation was almost visually what that hip hop kind of stuff does for me in my ears. So it's just kind of this journey that I like to do. So it could be just my taste just kind of got into the way of that whole objective analytical kind of thinking, because it definitely I was looking for a story as soon as we entered, but then I just kind of let go with that as we continued.
How very unpredictable of you, D.
I think it comes down to live action versus animation for me. Really, it does.
That's interesting.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does. I'm not quite certain, because there are certain live action movies that I can be totally fine with being expressionist.
Yeah.
Well, if you followed any of that, I'd love to hear where you think this film. One, I want to hear your intent.
Yeah.
What exact?
Yeah.
How would you
Like-
describe what this piece is, and
did you
why
make
did
this-
you make it?
Why did
As
you make
a
it?
student of animation, or
Yeah.
for a project that you're making later on, or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was your intent to tell a specific story? Is there more story here that we're not seeing, or was this purely an expressionist piece?
You know what's funny? I think both of you guys getting what you did versus what I did is kind of like what we did with Vincent. Where I was just like, no, dude. And you guys are like, yeah. And like, no.
Yeah, but see, a film, I think a good expressionist film sort of waves a flag at the beginning and lets you know this is this kind of journey we're going on.
Or right, and
You know?
and that's interpreted differently depending on who's watching it.
Right.
And so Vincent had that flag for you guys, and
Yeah.
it didn't for me.
Yeah, for us it was pretty obvious that this is going to be
Right.
a mind trip.
And for me, this animation was pretty obvious that it wasn't a story.
Right.
See, and for when it comes down to it, we're basically coming to the same conclusion
Yeah.
in a way. You just have a different perspective because your taste was for it. But it's funny how we often kind of argue to the same point.
To the same point, yeah. No, that's good.
It's kind of funny.
That's good. That kind of shows that we have different perspectives, but we have the same values.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
Are you okay,
Yeah.
Kenny?
Right.
Values.
Kenny doesn't agree.
Same values.
Kenny has no values.
All right. Hey, thanks for sending us your film.
Yeah.
It was very well done, and we really appreciate having a chance to look at it and talk about it today. Keep making cool things, and please share them with us. Answer those questions, too.
What we got next?
I don't remember watching this one.
Ooh.
Oh, right. Okay, now I remember.
Hey.
This is Army of One, directed, co-written, and produced by Victor. Not gonna pronounce that.
Oh, come on, give me that. Victor Gelsomino.
Ooh.
Sure.
Gelsomino. He's Italian. That's an Italian
Does he
name.
have to say it that way?
He does say it that way.
Oh, does he?
He called me.
You
So the
know
first
him?
question you need to answer is, do you say it that way?
And how do you know Kenny?
Gelsomino, Gelsomino, or Gelsomino.
No, you know it's
Hey, Victor.
Gelsomino.
Oh, jeez.
If you're taking offense now, you might as well just stop. You might as well just stop.
Watch the film in the link in the description. Come
Go
right
check it
back,
out.
please.
Yeah.
So much for the silent entrance.
Boom, we're back.
That was quick.
Mr. Taylor,
Hey, what's up?
you, despite you being very young, that we pointed out so many times on the show.
How old am I?
Like 4.
You're around 4.
Like 10.
4-year-old with a beard.
You have an incredible connection with the 80s,
Yeah.
both musically and visually.
Yeah.
Tell me about this movie.
So obviously this is very much an homage. When I am forgetting his first name. What was his first name?
Victor?
Victor.
Big Daddy.
When whoever submitted the film to us, sent it to us, he said that it was an homage to the kind of 80s action, kind of campy action films, and that comes through very strong, especially with it being set in South America kind of setting with kind of like a rainforest and like a
Cocaine Palace.
yeah, cocaine palace kind of thing
Dude,
going on.
This location was dope.
Yeah,
This is
so
really cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
just
where
you
was
know,
that and how'd you get it?
Yeah,
That's the
how-
first question.
How did that happen? You know, and then so having this Rambo character go in and just slaughter everybody.
Like this.
You know, yeah. It. You know, I see the intent behind it.
There's your thumbnail for the video.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I see the intent behind it, but and it does for the most part achieve it. You know, it is just a straight up homage to that kind of movie,
Right.
Of like ultra violence, and there's like women and money and drugs. And
If anything, it's an
over-
homage.
You know,
Yeah.
As I watched this, I was more impressed with its scope than I was with its storytelling. A lot of this was done very, very well, and it was a big project.
yeah,
You know,
Lots
it
of
took
people
lots of
involved,
people
There were lots
and
of
a
people.
lot of work
Yeah.
to make this be pulled off as well as it was. The initial reveal of the army of one man, when he was like perfectly behind the guy who was taking a leak,
that was funny.
and he just came out. Like,
That was funny.
That was done very well.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. When he began going on his shooting rampage, though, is when I felt the movies began to fall apart, kind of thematically or tonally, because it felt like we were in this action adventure thing that took itself seriously, but the Rambo character seemed to not take himself seriously. Like he was more campy than the world you had built around him. The world you built around him seemed high stakes and serious, and this guy with his face felt like a parody. And it kind of felt like the film was trying to be a couple things at once, and again, didn't really tell a traditional beginning, middle, end story. But boy, how many real squibs did you use, and how much CGI blood was in there? But that's a lot of work
Yeah,
to pull off
yeah.
all those kills.
Yeah. To touch on a pet peeve of mine, a very personal pet peeve.
This is personal to Taylor.
Extremely personal, and so I'm I'm really putting myself out there and being vulnerable.
He didn't
right
like the
now.
time travel.
Let it out. Let it out.
I don't like digital blood. I have never liked digital blood.
Yeah, I always insist on real blood
Yeah.
from my victims.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not even. Wait, what?
Nothing. Go on. Go on. Continue, as you were saying.
It's not necessarily that. I have nothing against digital because I know there's like a subsection of film nerds who just kind of like hate on CGI just because it's digital.
Right.
And I'm not down with that. Like it all has its time and place, but I just have always thought that,
Blood specifically?
If blood specifically always looks better when it's real and tangible and actors can interact with it and it's on the clothes and all that.
Absolutely.
So that's just like every time I see it, even in like The Walking Dead, like I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I do understand how much easier it is to do it and still not look like the worst thing that ever happened. It still looks pretty good. And there's so much of it in this that it's like I can tell there was a lot of like VFX work that went into it. The muzzle flashes looked really good.
Muzzle flashes were
It
good.
did look pretty good. The one thing that the muzzle flashes didn't do well was sync up to the sound.
I noticed that a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like do 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 do, and then every now and then there was a flash.
Yeah.
There was an interesting shift in color tone from the opening sequence where Big Daddy's on the stairs with the girls and he's on the phone, and that is all very vibrant in color. That whole bit.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then
when
it
we
gets
then we go off to like a title sequence with the
Yeah.
plane flying in, and when we come back in, everything seems to be very like blue.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was.
And that discrepancy felt weird to me.
Yeah.
to have
It
that.
just sounded like there was a big chunk of time in between. That's kind of what it felt like to me, like a passage of time.
Was it
but I don't
raining in that
Like
second?
actual raining?
Or made to seem
it
like
was-
it was raining?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was.
for at least some of it.
So maybe that was the
Why
the blue
That was why.
color correcting
That could be.
was to make it look stormy, darker.
One thing I would note is that this is definitely a movie about its subject and not about characters whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way I could
No character development.
right, well, not just no character development, but we had what character development there was on the bad guy and not of our hero.
Yeah, that felt a little strange.
Yeah, so when our hero
Yeah,
came in,
he was more relatable than the hero.
yeah, so the hero came in and he's just this mass murderer, which is fine because they did that in Rambo, but you need to have some sort of setting to understand. And what we did here in the film was we started off with our gangster guy, but there's no inherent. It's hard to say exactly what the problem is here, but there's no huge greed that we saw from him. There was no sin.
Yeah, he's
No, it had already happened.
he's like kind of a
Right.
dick to the girls and stuff, and like he's super.
Yeah.
But I mean, like he's kind of like funny.
He's
They
kind of
make him
funny,
funny,
is
and
the
because
thing,
they make
right.
him funny, it's like you don't
And you
necessarily
kind of
want him.
you
to
kind
die.
of feel sorry for him.
And
Yeah.
the army of one, the badass,
Yeah.
is, I guess, he's like a mercenary working for another drug cartel or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like a good
the
guy.
He's the army, right? He's
I
an
mean-
anti-hero.
Also, he's stone faced, the whole time.
Yeah.
He has like no expression.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like I have literally like I don't know who he is.
Right.
He
Right.
literally just shows up and
Right.
kills
And
everyone.
starts killing
And he
everyone.
I mean, it was a
doesn't have
good
any
piece
remorse
if you
or-
wanted to show, look, I can direct a series of battle scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was accomplished.
yeah.
But yeah,
I think
character was definitely missing.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with this was the pacing was a little lopsided. Where like in retrospect, I see what they were going for. They were doing the whole structure is set up, action, end, like just that's all it is.
Right.
But when it was setting up, it felt like there was going to be more to it. So when the action began and then it ended, I felt I was left kind of wanting more. I guess again into the character development, I wanted more from the characters because of how actually how much fun I was having watching them set up this drug lord, because I felt like they set his character up pretty well.
Yeah.
And because of that, also the action scenes started to feel more like a lot more showy than necessarily plot driven.
Right.
You know, it felt more like I keep thinking of like Freddie W and like his videos, how he always just does like showing off like cool effects, and like the effects come first,
right,
and then everything around it.
Well, and
it felt like that.
The reason why, sorry to cut you off. The reason why Freddie W's I think works so well is because his are entirely made of a joke, right? And so he has the joke, and then built upon that are all these visual effects. Mm-hmm. And whereas this was just, hey, visual effects, but then there's no basis that we have.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, you know, I guess what I'd boil it down to is that this was a piece that was all about the battle sequences, yet the opening scene was the most enjoyable scene.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be it.
So there's the problem. And so what was in that opening scene that wasn't in the battle sequence was
character
and empathy.
Yeah,
right?
and empathy. Right?
Yeah, and it's not even that the battles were not well done.
They were well done.
Yeah, they were very well done. It's just there was no...
Stunt coordination was great, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Just couldn't really connect with it too much.
Right, that's the thing, is connection, right? Yeah. Because what the audience wants is some sort of connecting with your protagonist. And so, like in something like Rambo or something like that, you have a catharsis because you have an evil and he's taking down the evil, and you're on board with it.
Yeah.
In this, there was no evil and there was no good guy.
Yeah.
And it was just shooting.
Yeah. It was clear that they were trying to set up the drug lord to be like
what they were
the
trying
bad
to do,
guy.
right?
So, but
it kind of backfired.
It backfired a little bit,
right.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your production and how long it took you to shoot this, how you got that awesome location.
Yeah, I'm curious on what challenges you faced while making this
Had
film.
to have been a lot, I imagine.
I also want to know if you used any squibs whatsoever, because I feel like there was maybe one or two.
There was at least some earth squibs. I mean, there was definitely like clods of dirt flying up.
Well, you know, that's what's interesting, because I saw a lot of dirt clog stuff that was mistracked.
That was digital then.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't know. Tell us.
Yeah,
Just
let us know.
Alrighty. Well, it's that time of the episode. Now it's time to say goodbye.
No.
Okay.
No.
Fine.
Can we talk more about like expressionism and?
No. This is where we do our plugs, because no one stays this long.
Oh right, yeah.
We leave it to the end so most of you don't have to hear it. Anyway.
Submit your short film.
Yes, we can give your short film the same glorious treatment we just gave to these three poor suckers. r/Carmen Line Studios is where you can submit your work. We would love to cover it here and talk all about it. We also have another part of our show, The Talkies, where we cover films currently in the cinema that screens every Monday. It shows every Monday. Not to mention Confirmed.
Oh yeah,
new episode
video
coming
games.
soon.
Pretty soon. It's almost done. So look out for that. Also, we do discussion threads on our subreddit where you can go and discuss the films that we review here, like a week in advance. So that way we can include your comments in the video.
We also have kind of a new format, a little bit, coming through pretty soon.
Yes.
To look out for this show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
So.
All right. Well,
down here.
Thank you very much for watching. As always, be sure to start conversations with us below. We'd love to hear what you thought. And subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Come on.
Yes, sir. Smash it.
Smash it.
Smash that subscribe button.
That's not how it goes.
And until next time, I'm Kenny.
I'm Arnold Palmer.
I'm Taylor.
And we'll see you at the Talkies.
My name's D, actually. It's not Arnold. I'm drinking.
Arnold, don't lie.
I'm drinking an Arnold Palmer. So, isn't Arnold the name of that one dude in?
Hey Arnold.
Arnold's name.
Hey,
a guy
Arnold.
named Bishy.
There was a guy named Arnold in Hey Arnold.
What are we doing? What is this?
It's the wall climbing dance. I'm climbing the skyscraper.
This is the end of the skyscraper. Oh, we didn't see skyscraper.
This is how I'm a start Bishy. Like this.
What is this, Bessie?
I got need her. You're my cow.
Is that the need?
Yeah, gotta
You gotta knead it real good,
Shit
get
like
nice
that.
and soft, relax the muscles, and
okay.
take a big bite out of
a little bit.
Gotta rip off a little piece.
Give her a best little once over. Give her a good old chew. Give her a gnaw that. She like that quite a bit. It's quite good. Just go and take my dentures out and put the gums. Just gnaw on it. It's really good.
I wish I could say I don't know what's going on.
But we do know what's going on, because all of that was real.